One of the really great things about international trade forums is that everybody gets to be together. For once, representatives of the rich world can sit next to representatives of the developing world, who can literally sit side by side with representatives of highly indebted poor countries, as they chat over food, expensive wines, and trade. Unfortunately, this often provides for a highly combustible mix. For instance, in 1976, at the first round of international trade forums, an American official became clearly intoxicated, just like we would expect any good American official to be. And then, angered at his Liberian counterpart, he walked up to the man, grabbed him by the tie, and tried to stab him to death with a butter knife. Besides showing just the kind of people that the United States sends to these trade forums, it shows that once there, these people are more willing to sit down and quarrel rather than to have substantive debate on the issues. And that's probably what happened last month with the failure of the Doha round of international trade talks. The Economist, in an obituary of September 23, 2008 for the trade talks, pointed out that neither sides, whether it could be the developed world, the developing world, or poorer nations in areas like Africa or Southeast Asia, could really agree on anything. And it is because global trade talks have been derailed, at the exact same time that regional trade talks are being proliferated. Many analysts are looking if there's a causal relationship between the two, forcing us to ask a question. Do regional trade talks undermine global trade talks? And the answer is absolutely. First, it allows for leaders to keep protectionist policies in place. Second, it's provided the impetus for a backlash in the developed world against free trade. And finally, regional trade deals today aren't necessarily about economics, they're more about solidifying relationships. One of the major reasons that regional trade deals undermine global trade talks is because regional trade deals allow global leaders to keep protectionism in place, and these protectionist measures derail global trade talks. This has taken place inside of the developed world. The Harvard International Review, in an article of September 19, 2008, reported that even though the United States is a member of regional trade deals, like NAFTA or the North American Free Trade Agreement, or CAFTA, or the Central American Free Trade Agreement, we still have incredibly high tariffs, especially against the developing world. In other words, the United States can pretend to be a free world trader and can say that we're open to trade, but at the same time, because of regional trade talks, we're able to keep protectionist policies in place. And these are the same protectionist policies that have derailed global trade talks. However, the developed world isn't the only one guilty at the talking table. The developing world also has to shelter some of the blame. The International Herald Tribune, in an article of September 25th, directly in the aftermath of Doha's failure, pointed out that inside of India there was a lot of movement against the free trade agreement on a global scale, and the Malika, who was the trade representative at the Doha round of trade talks, was known as Dr. No, because anytime the developed world would offer him anything, he would just say no. So they'd be like, do you want us to lower your subsidies? And he would say no. Do you want us to lower tariffs? No. Do you want to talk to us at all? No, not really. In other words, right now regional trade talks, both in the developed world and also in the developing world, have created the ability for these nations to keep protectionist measures in place. And since these regional trade deals provide that shelter, these protectionist trade policies, the same policies like tariffs and subsidies that keep the trade talks down, are essentially what is causing global trade talks to fail. So on the whole, because of regional trade talks, leaders can fake like they're being more open to free trade, but in reality, they can keep those protectionist barriers up, meaning that regional trade talks only derail and hurt the prospects for a global trade deal.